You know, I may have been born a human being, but I identify as an orangutan. I'm trans ape, trans hominid, however you want to say it. But I'm not here to talk about myself and my transition. I'm here to talk about a public figure who, in my opinion, was forced into a transition because as a child wasn't able to make those decisions on her own. I'll use her. It doesn't really matter which pronoun I use. I don't give a shit about this whole pronoun. Use proper pronouns. Throw that out the window. I don't give a shit. But I think it's tragic what they did to this poor little boy, as you could say, or little girl. I don't really care. But I do care about the person, the human being that is Jazz Jennings. Now, I never even knew who Jazz Jennings was until recently. Very, very recently. I was introduced to this person by Brad Silverdog, actually. Didn't put out a video on it, I don't think. If something on his community page, he showed another video about this poor person who transitioned as a child and now regrets it as an adult. And I like what Brad Silverdog says. The parents ruined that kid's life. And they did. This mother, who I believe wanted a daughter, so she turned her son into a daughter. And she made it seem like it was the kid's choice. When the kid was like 4 years old, and stories change a lot. And one thing of studying Lowell's cows over the time, they're hiding something and they're lying when their story always changes. And the mother is just like that. The story about the kid, and I've seen this in other videos where it happened when the kid was this age and it happened when the kid was a younger age and all this stuff. And then she went and had the kid transition to a girl. Convinced the kid you're a girl and then had it transition. I think that's pretty clear. I think that's a pretty good theory that's based on facts. But let's watch some clips and we're going to discuss things from this poor child's life.
When you don't have that watchful eye, they tend to go back to old patterns.
I have woken Jazz out of a dead sleep and taken the dilator and put the lubrication on it and said, here, you take this and you put it in your vagina. If not, I will.
That doesn't sound like the mother's trying to force that on her kid. Take this and put it in your vagina. I mean, if I had a daughter and I did that, I'd be in jail. Prison, probably. I mean, maybe a little different because of mother and its transition thing, and I know you have to keep the surgical, they mutilate your penis and tuck it inside, and because it's an open wound, it's never a vagina, it's just you're carrying an open wound, you got to keep it open. That's what you get. You're not getting a vagina. You're getting a open wound. And you have to use something. And they use sex toys. That's what they use to keep dilated. That's what she's talking about. See, it's a Franken vagina is what it is. It's not real. It just pushes a delusion. A lot of transgender people who've gone through the surgery will admit that it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. That they have to use lubrication every time they have sex or anything. And they have to keep it dilated, which is like once a day you got to put a vibrator or a dildo up there to keep it open. I mean, if you're an adult and you choose to do that, that's fine. But you do this to a little kid. It's disturbing I can't even come up with the right words how disturbing that is.
If someone asked me why I used to be a boy and now I'm a girl, I would say that I have a girl brain and boy body, and I think like a girl, but I but I just have a boy body, and it's different than you.
Is it okay to be different?
Yes.
Do you like it? Because why?
It's okay to be. It's okay to be different because it just matters who you are. It doesn't matter if you're different than anybody else. It just matters if you're having a good time and you like who you are.
Now you can tell she was coaxed to say that stuff, that she was prepared to say a thing, and maybe some of the things she gets told over and over again, she believes it. But a kid that age, I don't care how smart that kid is. I know this kid ended up going to Harvard or something, but that doesn't, you don't understand. I think 5 or 6 years old this kid is, it looks like. Maybe no more than 8 years old. I don't really know how old it is in this clip, but a child that age doesn't know I have a girl's mind and a boy's body. How does she even know that unless someone told her that? It's not one day, oh, I have this woman's body. What makes you have a woman's body or mind? When I was a kid, there were some girls I used to stay with when my parents went out of town. There was a family that me and my brother would stay with, you know. And there was a family of 3 girls and me and my brother. And I played Barbie with them and everything else because I was, you know, a young kid. Well, that's what girls play, and you're going to hang out with girls. You're going to play what the girls play and what they want to play. So I played Barbie. I was the Ken, you know, who knows. But does that mean I have a girl mind because I was willing to play Barbie? No. The difference in men's mind and women's mind is really more in the reproductive aspect of the mind. I think our minds are the same, whether we're male or female. I think there might slight differences, but, you know, the feminist movement pushed that for years, that, you know, men and women are the same. We're different physically, but mentally, men and women are the same. You know, women have some aspects that may be a little bit different. They always say women are more nurturing, and that's not really true. Men can be just as nurturing as women. All that stuff. All that is just psychobabble, made up shit. First it was used to oppress women, that women were lesser than men. And now it's used to promote transition or transgenderism. So, you know, it's bullshit that one mind is different than the other. In my opinion, I'm not a scientist in that field, whatever field that would be, psychology or, I don't know, I wouldn't go psychology because I'm not really big on that field, but maybe, you know, study of the mind, that kind of science. Now, this child has gone through multiple surgeries because it didn't work. It was experimental surgery. They had to correct their mistakes over and over again. They filled this kid full of hormones and chemicals to try to make this into a Franken girl. That's all there is to that. That the mother had this kid because she wanted her little girl, and had the boy go through all these chemicals. Now, it's really mutilation. If the kid's really a girl, or really feels like a girl, just let her be a girl with a penis. They're not going to know whether, I mean, I disagree with gays on this, that you're born gay, that you're born transgender. I think those are things that develop later in life. Maybe you were born that, but it doesn't come out till later in your life. Okay, if you want to say, yeah, you're born gay or whatever, but you don't actually become gay till you become sexually in your mind, when you start having those attractions. For me, I don't know, kind of around 12, more 13, 14, I really started having those feelings. You know, before that, I was told that I was supposed to like girls, so I liked girls. But it wasn't until I was gone through puberty that I really understood that I like boys and girls. a child should go through puberty before it decides whether it likes being a boy or a girl. Maybe Jazz would have loved the penis. You know, I know it's kind of funny saying that, but I really mean that. I mean, she never got to experience what it was like to have a penis. I mean, you know, when you go through puberty, if you're a boy, penis is like the greatest discovery ever. I do more than just pee out of this thing now. You know, experience male orgasm. She never got to experience that because her mom wanted a girl. Her mom stole that away from Jazz.
But with her, I'm worried about like her mental well-being and her dilation. The minute she leaves my house, we have a dilation problem.
That is a concern. When you don't have that watchful eye, they tend to go back to old patterns.
I have woken Jazz out of a dead sleep and taken the dilator and put the lubrication on it and said, here, you take this and you put it in your vagina. If not, I will. But Jazz is bad, even when I'm home once a day. I would be so mad if she goes away to college and that thing seals up. I will wring her neck. Can you imagine? No, I can't.
Spoken like a true abuser. The mother, if you can tell right there, she's abusive. I'll wring her neck. That's a threat. Threatening her daughter. If her daughter doesn't become what the mother wants the daughter to be, she will wring her neck. You know, I know parents might say, if you don't become a college graduate, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to cut you off or all whatever. You know, how dare you want to be a construction worker? You know, you're in this family. You're going to be a lawyer. You know, there are families like that. This is the same thing, but it's sicker than that. It's like, you're going to be a girl because I want you to be a girl. Not because Jazz wants to be a girl, but because the mother wants Jazz to be a girl.
Jazz has had a very difficult surgical course. She had a very incredible first surgery. It went seemingly very well, but there were problems. And that prompted a second surgery, which I was not a part of, unfortunately.
Now, just a side note, this Marcy Bowser is not a doctor, not a physician. She is a sex therapist. That's right, a sex therapist. That may be a legitimate field, but that's not a field to make medical decisions, especially concerning surgeries and things like that.
Yeah, this has been a real journey, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. You know, we knew it would be tough. It turned out tougher than any of us imagined.
Taking Jazz on as a patient for surgery, we knew it was going to be a one-of-a-kind surgery. She's one of the first to have undergone complete pubertal suppression and lack of growth of the skin and other tissues, which we rely on as surgeons to do this operation. And we don't have the experience of having said we've done 50 of these. I was just not expecting her to have a complication as severe as what she did have.
Now, I'm not a physician, don't claim to be, never had an interest in that field, although I was a medic in the military, but I'm not a physician. That's a huge gap between the two. He's surprised it didn't come out the way he wanted, because it was experimental surgery. They were experimenting on this young child. Is it possible to turn a boy into a girl? They didn't. They failed at it. Plain and simple, it was a failure. Even after they corrected the surgery multiple times, she has to stick a sex toy up her yoo-hoo every day. Lubricate it, because don't produce any lubrication. Jazz will never feel, instead she'll never feel what it feels like to have a boy having a sexual experience. We'll never feel what it's like for a woman to have a sexual experience, because you can never mimic that. At least not with the science we have now. You can't put the nerve endings in the right places and the pleasure centers or whatever there are that, you know, you might as well have just cut the skull open, took the brain out, and put the brain of another young girl, if you believe that's the difference. That wouldn't have made any difference, but I don't know, it might have something, but they might have had some sense of being female but I mean, these are educated people, far more educated than and I can't grasp how stupid and ignorant all this is. This doctor is probably an idiot savant. You know, someone who's very smart in surgery and all that stuff, but idiot when it comes to social issues. And that, I don't know.
Typical morning's breakfast.
Fast food, maybe a donut or two, and then maybe 2 bagels.
I don't judge her by that. I'm just shocked.
We're not putting butter on it right now, Jazz.
I know,
No, you need to chill right now.
No, you need to chill.
Even when we think we're doing something right, she falls off the wagon.
How much butter did you put on the pasta?
Put 1 tablespoon.
Guys,
measure it?
wait. No, that's not 1 tablespoon.
I do experience fat shaming from my family. It makes me feel really humiliated.
Come on, I need you to get up. This isn't gonna cut it at Harvard. I'm not gonna be here to get you up. At least Greg and I are around to prevent her from oversleeping. What's gonna happen when we're not around?
You got to really consider whether you could even go up to school.
As long as I get off my lazy ass, then
You keep making empty promises. You're like, I got this. I can do this. I'm gonna change.
I can tell you that it's different now because it's now or
It's
never.
not, though. It
It's
hasn't
now
been.
or never at this point.
Prove it, because you're all talk.
Oh my God.
It's not Jazz that wants to lose weight. Maybe she does for self-esteem, but it's a mother, because the mother wanted the skinny, good-looking daughter. And now that she's overweight, and because of depression, she went off to college away from her family's control, and she went to depression because it doesn't feel herself or himself, having regrets for what was done to her, blaming herself for all the things her mom pushed her through, and gained weight. You know, I'm a heavy guy. Okay, I wasn't always a heavy guy. It wasn't until, you know, I got out of the military and got divorced the same exact time. And I had my kids taken away from me. My whole life changed. Now I was back in my home state of Colorado. My wife and kids were out in California. I was no longer under the structure of the military. I was feeling depressed, and I suppressed my feelings by eating. And I gained a lot of weight. And since then, I haven't been able to really get it off. I've got it a little bit off, and it bounces back up, and it's been a struggle. And it'll be a struggle till the day I die, I'm pretty sure. Maybe by some miracle, I'll find some diet that works for me, and maybe I'll lose my weight. But if I don't, I'm still okay with myself. But they're not allowing Jazz to be okay with herself. If you have a kid that's overweight, don't fat shame your kid. You're just going to make the problem worse. You're not going to make it better. First, you need to accept yourself how you are. And the mother's not allowing Jazz to do that because Jazz has never been able to be who she is, or anything, including her weight. Now, she's not that fat, if you ask me. She's still, if she was a girl who looked like that, a lot of guys like big girls. I'm one. I'm a big guy, so I must have big girls. I have, but you know, it's ridiculous, and it's shameful that she's allowed to fat shame her own daughter like that. I mean, fat shaming is something some piece of shit asshole outside of your sphere of influence that says things about you. I've been fat shamed on YouTube and videos and comments. I just delete them, but you know, I've been fat shamed. It's not exactly fun, but when it comes from your own mother, that is just horrible. I'm sorry, but it is. It shows the character of the mother and proves that I'm right about her.
Like you wanted to start talking about. Are you okay?
I'm okay.
I'm like I'm gonna cry. But
You know I can't get out of my head.
I know. No, listen.
It just doesn't stop.
It's okay. Give me a hug. It's okay. I know what you're going through. We've been there before.
No, it still doesn't stop.
No, Mrs. Jennings, you don't know what she's going through. You haven't gone through that. You are so delusional to even say that to your kid. Your kid's trying to say that she doesn't feel right. And you, because that's not the image you want for your daughter. You want to be patted on the back for transitioning a boy into a girl. that you made your son into your daughter. It's not, I don't think any of these were her choices. I think you were brainwashing your daughter, manipulating your daughter, your son, you know, and now your child is hurting inside, gaining weight because of the hurt, depressed because of the hurt, and all you do is just make excuses for it. That we'll just get through this. Well, you might get through it, but your daughter's not going to get through it.
No, and I'm already going back to negative.
But the more you're talking about yourself, it gets harder. You're digging in, and it's making you put a magnifying glass on what's already difficult as it is. So this is hard for you, I know, and we don't want to push you
I know
anymore.
I'm the one doing it. Like,
I know, you're your own worst enemy.
I feel kind of all over the place, and like my mind is very cluttered and not clear. And I really want to have that clarity. I really want to understand myself and be able to read my own soul and what I want. And it's just very challenging. And I think I'm kind of breaking down a little bit and spiraling into negativity.
I just want to feel like myself. Like, that's it. I don't
Like the
care.
old Jazz?
All I want is to be happy and feel like me, and I don't feel like
What is
me
me?
ever.
She's trying to explain it, but her mother's not listening to it because her mother lives in this fantasy world. And her mother is the cause of the problem. This child didn't make that decision. A 4-year-old doesn't decide that they want to, they may decide that, but they don't know what they're deciding. The mother knew what was going on the whole time, and the mother has profited from her whole situation, although I don't think that was the motivation. But the daughter's trying to say, I don't feel like myself, and the mom is coming up with excuses of her daughter's feelings. But it's okay because the left, that's what people on the left want. I'm not saying everybody on the left. Well, as researching this topic, I have found multiple transgender females, or guys that transgender into females, saying how wrong this is, what the mother done. There are videos out there. If you go search, you'll find them. There are even people in the trans community that think that this whole thing is wrong. And this brings the point of things that I've said over and over again, that a child is too young to make those kind of decisions. Let them become an adult and let them decide then that they want to do that. And the surgery and the hormones are not going to make you into a woman. If you're born a man, you're going to be a man. You may be a transgender, but you'll never be a full woman, no matter how many times they say, she's just as much woman as any other woman. They can say that till they're blue in the face. It doesn't make it so. You can say the sky is red. It's not going to change the fact that the sky is blue. It just isn't. Mutilating your body is not going to make you feel like a woman, because a woman doesn't have to shove a vibrator or a dildo up inside them, heavily lubricated every day to keep it dilated, to keep the wound open. It just, I don't know where you all stand on political issues. This is not a political issue. This is where our society is condoning a woman's abuse of her child. And that's all I got to say. You guys have a good day and a better tomorrow.